Hey Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Before we start our news and rumor video here on a Monday, make sure you guys are subscribed down below. We are literally 80 subscribers away. We're so close to 17,000 subscribers. So go down below and hit that big red subscribe button to help us out. We're trying to do many more, not only free agency, but NFL draft videos as well. So subscribe down below. All right, Eagle fans, let's go ahead and jump into the latest Eagles news and rumors. And the first one is interesting. Let's just say that to say the least. Nick Foles, right? You want Nick Foles back in an Eagle uniform? Well, if you do, your wish could be coming true sooner rather than later, as a new report coming out of multiple big-name outlets says the Eagles and Bears are discussing a trade to send Foles back to Philadelphia to be, I guess, the backup quarterback, because right now Jalen Hurts is the starter, or at least is what we've been told, but I don't know if we fully trust a guy like Howie Roseman to tell us who the starter is in Philadelphia. Either way, though, of course, Foles struggled last season in Chicago, and so the odds of him coming back to be the starter to me are slim, but the odds of him coming back to be the backup behind Jalen Hurts actually makes some sense. So we'll jump into the origins of this story. We go to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, who's very well plugged into the National Football League. When asked about it, he said, quote, "I wouldn't take a Nick Foles Philadelphia reunion off the table right now. Because a few weeks ago, when Chicago was looking to get Carson Wentz, they included Nick Foles in a potential package to Philadelphia. Now, Wentz ultimately went to Indianapolis, but those talks have been ongoing. They're in place. All they would have to do this week is revive them. Philadelphia is looking for a high-level backup, somebody to come in and support Jalen Hurts." Now, this sounds good, and I'm honestly not against bringing back Nick Foles. He was Super Bowl 52 MVP. The problem is I want them to sign a drama-free backup. Like just no drama backup quarterback, please. That's what you want right now in Philadelphia. And even though I think Nick Foles himself does not create drama, he's not like a big ego guy, he's a great teammate, and I think honestly would be a great backup, the drama that would come behind the former Super Bowl 52 MVP in Philadelphia would be a little bit too much to handle. I would much rather them go out and get somebody who's a little bit lesser known, maybe a little bit not as good as Nick Foles per se, even though Foles was bad last year in Chicago, just to go ahead and create zero controversy, because again, Foles, because he's a Super Bowl MVP and he won a Super Bowl in Philadelphia, would create a little bit of controversy if Jalen Hurts were to struggle early. Now, again, the weird thing about Nick Foles is anywhere but Philadelphia, he's no good. He was no good in St. Louis. He was no good down with Jacksonville, and then again, no good with Chicago last year. He had a couple of nice wins, one early against the Falcons, but that was basically it. And so it's just going to be interesting to see if the Eagles do want to go ahead and bring him back, because again, he makes the most sense as a backup. Be very familiar with the guys in that roster, but the drama that would come with him, to me, is a little bit too much to handle. That would lead me perfectly into a guy who I think would be a really good backup quarterback who would not bring any drama, and that, of course, is Joe Flacco. Pro Football Talk has a tweet out saying that the Eagles are bringing in quarterback Joe Flacco for a visit per source. That's supposed to happen either today or tomorrow based on what I am hearing, and this, to me, would make just a lot more sense from a drama standpoint. Again, Foles makes more sense with a fit, and maybe you want to go and get the best backup you possibly can. If that's the case, and Nick Foles is there. But Flacco can do a lot of things that Nick Foles can do, and obviously still a Super Bowl MVP in his past in Baltimore. Hasn't been good, was bad with the Jets last year, but would be a veteran presence in the locker room, but would not create any sort of controversy in terms of being the starting quarterback. 4 starts with the Jets last year, 864 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. It was the Jets, but I think the Eagles are on the right track in trying to find somebody to back up Jalen Hurts. I just wonder if Nick Foles is the idea or the right guy for the job in terms of the drama that it would bring. And again, I say drama not because Nick Foles is a dramatic quarterback or a big ego guy, because he's not at all. He's like a great teammate, great guy, and everything. We all know that, understand that in Philadelphia. But just imagine if Hurts were to struggle a little bit early on. Let's say the team was 2-2, and it was because the defense was playing well and Miles Sanders was running well, but Hurts was struggling. If they're 2-2 and the NFC East starts to get out of hand because the Giants, the Reds, and the Washington football team look good, then there's a very real possibility you'd have fans go, well, put in Nick Foles, because he, of course, won here before. Why can't he win here again? And then you have another full-blown quarterback controversy on your hands, and that's something you absolutely want to go ahead and avoid if you are the Philadelphia Eagles. I'll let you guys give you the answer to this whole problem right now in the down below. Do you think the Eagles need a high-profile backup quarterback? Like high-profile, like, for instance, Nick Foles or somebody else. Let me know if you think they should. Type Y down below for yes. If you don't think they need a high-profile backup, type N down below for no. I'm all for Sudfeld coming back, but apparently that's not going to happen because they haven't re-signed Nate Sudfeld back. So who knows what will happen, but again, we'll keep an eye right now on both Nick Foles and Joe Flacco, 2 options to be a backup quarterback in Philadelphia. Let's move over to some more Philadelphia Eagles news and rumors here. Over to Deshaun Watson. Now, Deshaun Watson has been kind of rumored around Philadelphia the past couple of days, but of course, with all the legal drama that's been going on with Deshaun Watson, the story becomes very interesting, very intriguing, and curious as to why people are still saying the Eagles are in the running. So there is a report out of the Houston Chronicle that is an anonymous source, which is interesting, but still, that says several teams remain interested in Deshaun Watson, despite the fact there have been 7 lawsuits filed against him, and more reportedly on the horizon. This then creates a whole different question mark here, and from an off-the-field issue, is Deshaun Watson worth the risk of trading for, not just for Philadelphia, but for the 6 other teams that reportedly, according to Houston Chronicle, are still very, very interested in him, and that is kind of a surprise to me, but we'll give you the quote here by Mike Florio in just one second. First, make sure you guys are subscribed, because if they do trade for Deshaun Watson, which I think is a massive if, we will break it all down here on Philadelphia Eagles now, so again, make sure you guys are subscribed. We're very close to 17,000 subs. We're trying so hard to get that this week. It's like 80 of you guys. So if 80 new people subscribe, we hit 70K, and of course, we greatly appreciate that. So here's Mike Florio. This is from the on Deshaun Watson, quote, with 7 lawsuits filed, 5 more promised, and at least 10 more possibly coming, common sense suggests it'd be difficult, if not impossible, for the Texans to trade quarterback Deshaun Watson. A Saturday report from Aaron Wilson of the Houston Chronicle suggests otherwise. Wilson cited unnamed sources to support the claim that multiple teams remain interested in Watson. Eagles, Panthers, Jets, Dolphins, 49ers, and Broncos being interested in actually making a trade are 2 different things. With the current legal clouds over Watson, anyone who trades for him would assume the risk that Watson will be suspended without pay eventually. And I think the last part of this is absolutely correct. If you're going to trade for Deshaun Watson, you have to assume the risk. He's risky and expensive to go ahead and trade for, because even with all these off the field, we'll call them drama, but lawsuits that are going on right now, the trade market has to come down, which I guess would help out teams to go ahead and trade for him. But there's literally zero guarantee that Deshaun Watson is even going to be able to play this year. Like, the whole legal process has to happen from a legal standpoint, like an actual state in the law standpoint, and then also from the National Football League, who in the past has suspended people even if the legal process decides that they're not going to go ahead and go forward charges. It's a whole weird situation that happens in the NFL, but they do their own private investigations, and if they deem that something went wrong, or they deem that Deshaun Watson made a mistake in any sort of way, they can go ahead and still suspend him without pay for multiple games or even the entire year. Like, the lawsuit and allegations you can Google for yourself, but it's serious stuff, and of course it's all going to be played out here over the next couple of weeks. We're not going to comment on what's happening with that, but again, know that these things have been filed now. They are real lawsuits, 7 of which are actually been filed, and more could potentially be coming. I think that the risk to reward is way too much. It's just way too much for any team right now. If I'm Philadelphia, 1, it's a surprise they're even interested in Deshaun Watson, and 2, with the new legal allegations coming out, I don't think you can even trade for him, because if you spend too much on a guy who gets suspended, then you look like a really, really dumb team who did not do their homework and was not diligent on it the entire process. Roll with Jalen Hurts. Again, I will say this until they eventually listen to me. Roll with Jalen Hurts as your starting quarterback. He should be the starting quarterback of the Eagles. Don't worry about any sort of drama with Deshaun Watson, just as in don't even think about trading for him, because there could be drama in terms of being suspended. We just focus on the quarterback who is, on all intents and purposes, going to be the starter in Philadelphia, regardless of what people think about his playing abilities over the past couple of games. But I would roll, obviously, with Jalen Hurts over Watson, because this legal stuff is getting bigger and bigger, and it just does not seem to be a risk worth taking from an on-the-field standpoint for the Philadelphia Eagles. What do you guys think? Would you rather trade for Deshaun Watson, or would you rather go ahead and stick with Jalen Hurts? Type W down for Watson, type H down below for Hurts. I personally would much rather go ahead and stick with Hurts, so I would be typing H down below. Okay, so what is it? Round of 32 in March Madness. Baylor looks pretty good so far. Betting is still going on, which means you need to jump in on our bet promo right now with BetUS. Go to chatsports.com/EaglesBet. Use that promo code EAGLES125 to go ahead and get your 125% deposit bonus whenever you first sign up. So you put $100 down, use our promo code EAGLES125, and that turns into $225 to bet on anything in terms of March Madness, right? I put a big bet down on the Baylor Bears, my alma mater, to go ahead and win the entire tournament. The payout's going to be really nice, and they look pretty good the first couple of games. They play Nova on Saturday, but plenty of other bets, not just today, on a Monday, and games are probably happening right now whenever you're watching this, but of course, into the Sweet 16, Elite 8, and beyond. Get all of your bets in with our friends at BetUS. And if you have any questions about setting up your account, email us, eagles@chatsports.com. We'll go ahead and help you guys out. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the big news of the weekend. I think this is great stuff for Philadelphia, and that is the fact they finally have signed at a legit starter and a really nice name, honestly. Anthony Harris is an Eagle and should be the starter at safety, but then we get to the start of the 2021 season. This came kind of out of nowhere, as according to multiple reports, Harris had other offers from other places, but he agrees to a one-year, $5 million deal with the Philadelphia Eagles. And at first you go, Anthony Harris, wasn't he really good in 2019? Like, how is he only available for $5 million a year? Well, upon further review, he was great in 2019, had a very lackluster 2020, and of course was playing on a franchise tag, so kind of a bet on yourself sort of type season. Didn't work out too well, and now his loss is the Eagles' gain. The fact they get him for $5 million is, to me, absolutely fantastic. He did work with the Eagles' current defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon, while in Minnesota. There's a connection obviously forming there, but this, to me, is just a great move by Philadelphia overall, and one that is a little bit surprising that they could actually pull it off. He's a low-risk signing, and that's the great news about this whole thing with Anthony Harris, who, again, 2019 was the number 2 safety in the league, according to Pro Football Focus. 6 interceptions in 14 games. The guy was an absolute monster. He had a lot more tackles last year, but no interceptions, and really just didn't seem to be as good as he was 2 years ago in 2019. This all comes on the heels of course, Rodney McLeod possibly starting on the PUP list due to the ACL injury. The Eagles lost Jalen Mills to free agency to the New England Patriots. So you were looking at Kayvon Wallace and some other, like Graylin Arnold starting at safety, right? Like, who else was going to go ahead and be the other safety? And now you can either have Anthony Harris and Rodney McLeod if he's ready to go, or you roll with Anthony Harris and Kayvon Wallace as your 2 starting safeties. Either way, it's a nice safety pickup for a very cheap one-year, $5 million deal. And you can see Harris being on a kind of prove-it deal right now. And so if he plays well, he'll get a bigger contract next year. And if not, the Eagles let him go and figure out the safety spot going into 2022. But this was a kind of a surprise signing to me, but a low-risk, high-reward signing that I think is absolutely fantastic. According to other reports, though, Philadelphia is not done trying to go ahead and add to the defensive back depth chart right now, as they are reportedly trying to secure a meeting with Adoree Jackson. So Jackson met with a former teammate, current Giant. I'm blanking on his name right now. Oh goodness, the secondary guy. I'm blanking on who it was, but he met with a Giant defensive back yesterday for dinner. Reportedly meeting with the Giants today, and then he has a scheduled meeting with the Eagles either tonight or tomorrow. But that's kind of tentative right now based on his meeting with the New York Giants. Multiple Giant players are trying to go. It's Logan Ryan. That's the name. I just remembered it. Logan Ryan had dinner with them, and Logan Ryan and other Giants are actively recruiting Adoree Jackson to New York City, whereas Darius Slay and Rodney McLeod are trying to go ahead and recruit Adoree Jackson to Philadelphia. Young cornerback, a lot of upside to his game, and I think right now, from not just a return standpoint in the kick return game, but opposite of Darius Slay, could be a big pickup for the Philadelphia Eagles. So here's Rodney McLeod on Twitter trying to go ahead and recruit Adoree Jackson. You see that quote, at Adoree knows, you know what to do. And then, of course, if you go to this other photo here on Twitter, Darius Slay tweeted a tweet from Adoree Jackson all the way back in 2012 where Jackson said, man, oh man, I love Philly. And then Darius Slay went ahead and did the eyes emoji. So there's your recruiting. That's kind of how it works in the National Football League. Again, Adoree Jackson, great in terms of overall kick and punt return, could be the starter in that standpoint in Philadelphia, but it's still a cornerback that is an upgrade over what Philadelphia currently has on the roster. And I honestly think that if you go ahead and look at the Eagles' cornerback depth chart, you got to find somebody opposite of Darius Slay. And if Jackson can fall in love with Philadelphia over the Giants, which is a big if. Like, maybe the time you're watching this, he's already signed with the Giants, but right now, he remains a free agent. I think Philadelphia, 1, is in play, according to reports, and 2, should be in play because they need help at cornerback, and I think Adoree Jackson could have a lot of upside going into the second half of his career. All right, name another free agent wide receiver you guys want the Eagles to sign. Not even a free agent wide receiver. How about name another free agent you guys want the Eagles to go ahead and sign? Let me know who that is down below. Maybe it is Adoree Jackson, and again, I'm in on Adoree Jackson. I don't think he's not a Darius Slay type player, but he is a number 2 cornerback in a spot where Philadelphia needs the help. A number 2 cornerback has got to get figured out, especially with the rest of the National Football League, or the rest of the NFC East, looking pretty darn good at the wide receiver spot, a.k.a. Curtis Samuel, a.k.a., of course, the signing of Kenny Golladay as well for the Giants. But let me know what you guys think in terms of naming a free agent wide receiver you want the Eagles, or free agent, you want the Eagles to go ahead and sign. All right, ultimate for today here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. Again, make sure you guys are subscribed. We're very close to 17,000 subs as free agency is still going on, so things are changing by the minute. So we'll have plenty of updates for you guys here in the coming days and weeks. For Philadelphia Eagles Now, I am Thomas Mott. We go ahead and sign off to the rest of your day.